Have you ever felt like you become taken for granted by someone? You care, you make the effort, you always show up when they need you. But the moment you stay silent, they don't even notice. That moment hurts. Not because you are weak, but because you always believed that sincerity would be reciprocated. Yet in reality, people often only appreciate something once it is gone. Imagine a traveler walking through the desert. He sees a small oasis but passes it by, thinking something better lies ahead. Only when thirst becomes unbearable does he realize his mistake. But by then, the oasis is gone. Sometimes you are the oasis that others take for granted until you walk away and they realize what they've lost. Or think of a silent warrior. He doesn't boast, doesn't try to impress, doesn't seek anyone's attention. People may barely notice his presence. But when a true challenge arises, when everyone panics looking for support, they see that the silent one is the strongest. Strength is not flashy, yet no one can replace it. This is the essence of quiet value in Stoic philosophy. You don't need to prove anything. You only need to know your own worth and stop giving it to the wrong people. Because the moment you stop chasing approval is the moment others begin to take notice. So how do you make those who once ignored you regret it? No anger needed, no pleading, no explanations required. Walk with me through the next 7 lessons. You will understand why your silence can sometimes be the most powerful voice of all. Lesson 1. Let their indifference teach you who they are. One of the most painful feelings humans face is being taken lightly. You show up, you contribute, you care, you try to keep everything smooth. Yet others act as if your presence holds no value. They don't respond to messages. They don't keep promises. They only think of you when they need something. And strangely, even when you know you deserve better, you still ask yourself, am I not good enough? But from the Stoic perspective, the right question is, what does their behavior say about them, not about me? Stoicism reminds us that the actions of others are beyond our control. They are indifferent because that is who they are. They take things lightly because they have never learned to appreciate. They stay silent because they believe you will always be there. Epictetus once said, "He who does not know how to value himself cannot value anyone else." Someone who cannot see their own worth will not be able to see yours either. I once knew a young man, let's call him Ethan. In Texas, where he lived, he was always the one keeping connections alive. He proactively sent messages, invited friends to meals, checked on their well-being, and tried to create meaningful moments. He believed his efforts would be reciprocated. But over time, he realized a simple yet painful truth. If he didn't take the initiative, everything fell into silence. No one asked where he was. No one continued the conversation. No one cared whether he was okay. One day, Ethan decided to stop, not to punish anyone, but to see what would happen. And what happened was nothing. Complete silence. No messages, no check-ins, no effort from the people he thought were truly his friends. That moment was painful, but it was also liberating, because he realized he had been trying to maintain relationships that, in reality, were never truly his. Their indifference is not an insult. It is the truth. It shows you what you may not want to see, who truly values you, and who only sees you as a convenience. And when you let that indifference speak, you no longer have to chase anyone. The lesson is, when someone ignores you, don't try to make them change. Let them reveal themselves. The right people will recognize your value without you having to remind them. Lesson 2. Stop seeking their approval. One of the biggest mistakes we often make when someone disregards our value is trying to prove ourselves further. We hope that if we are a little kinder, a little more patient, a little more persistent, they will see the value they have long ignored. But the more you chase approval, the more you lose your self-respect. The more you expect to be seen, the easier it is for others to take you for granted. That is why Stoicism always warns us about emotional dependence on others. The more you crave recognition, the more you hand over the power to define your worth into their hands. Seneca once said, "It is not the one who has little who is poor, but the one who always desires more." When you crave approval, you become spiritually impoverished. You become dependent on glances, feedback, and even praise that people sometimes give only to pull you back into a lower position. The irony is that the more you try to prove your importance to those who ignore you, the more you diminish your own value. I know a woman living in California. Let's call her Maya. All her life, Maya has been doing everything to be seen. At work, she takes on extra tasks, always strives to exceed targets, and is always ready to help her colleagues. At home, she is the one who apologizes first, always accommodates, always tries to keep the peace. She believes that the harder she tries, the more she will be valued. But the more kind she is, the more she is taken for granted. No one thanks her, no one acknowledges her, no one treats her the way she treats them. One day, Maya grew so tired that she realized she had been living her life through the eyes of others for far too long. She decided to try something she had never dared to do: stop. She didn't initiate messages. She didn't take on extra tasks just to impress. She didn't over-explain when someone misunderstood her. And something strange happened. The people who once took her for granted began to feel the loss. They asked, "Why have you been talking less lately? Why aren't you joining in anymore? Are you okay?" When she stopped seeking their approval, they began seeking her. The lesson here is clear. Your value does not lie in the approval of others. It lies in your ability to recognize your own worth. When you stop chasing after someone, you immediately become more worthy of respect in their eyes. And most importantly, you become free. Lesson 3. Refuse to play their game. When someone disregards your value, it's not always because they don't care. Sometimes their silence, disappearance, or indifference is a test, a psychological game they create consciously or unconsciously to see how you will react. This is especially common in relationships in the United States, where people often use space or distance as a way to measure how much you need them. They withdraw to see if you will chase them. They stay silent to see if you will panic. They ignore you to see if you will apologize, compromise, or try harder to maintain the connection. What they don't say but expect is your reaction. If you keep messaging, they know they are important. If you explain, justify, or try to make excuses to appease them, they know you fear losing them. And when you react exactly the way they want, they will continue the game indefinitely because it gives them a sense of control. Stoic philosophy gives us a powerful reminder. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Marcus Aurelius meant that the way to break every manipulative game is to refuse to participate. When they use silence, you don't need to respond with anxiety. When they withdraw to make you chase, you don't take a single step. When they want to see you unsettled, you remain calm. When they expect an emotional reaction, you choose silence and composure. This is how you reclaim your power. I once knew a man living in Florida named Daniel. He loved someone who had a habit of going silent whenever things didn't go their way. In those moments, Daniel would often panic, sending messages to explain, apologizing, trying to pull them back even when he had done nothing wrong. One day he realized he had been guided more by the fear of losing that person than by the truth. He decided to do the opposite of his usual habit. He stopped reacting. When the other person went silent, he remained silent. When they withdrew, he continued with his life. He did not blame, question, or chase. What happened next was surprising. Just a few days later, the person who had gone silent began to worry. They asked if he was okay, why he hadn't messaged, why he was quiet. Anthony Robbins once said, "He who controls his emotions controls the relationship." And Daniel proved it. When he refused to play the game ended. The lesson is clear: when you don't react, you regain power. When you don't chase, they are the ones who have to think. When you don't play, they lose the reason to win. Lesson 4, grow in silence. When someone disregards your value, the first reaction for many is to prove yourself. You want them to see how capable you are, how kind you are, how worthy of respect you are. You want to fix the way they perceive you. But the truth is, the more you try to prove yourself, the smaller you appear in their eyes. And the wonderful thing is, you don't need to prove anything at all. Stoicism teaches an important principle. True value lies not in words, but in actions. It's not about how much you explain, but about who you become after being undervalued. Epictetus once said, Do not explain your philosophy, live it. If someone cannot see your value, let them perceive that change through your actions. Because when you grow in silence, you not only surprise them, but you also make them wonder why they ever underestimated you. I once knew a man living in Seattle named Liam. He worked at a large tech company, but was often undervalued. No matter how hard he tried, he was sidelined in meetings, his ideas went unnoticed, and his contributions were not appreciated. Liam had thought about complaining, confronting, or making a fuss to get recognition. But then he chose a different path. He silently upgraded himself. He enrolled in evening courses to learn new skills. He improved his communication abilities. He quietly built a portfolio stronger than anyone else on the team. For months, no one knew what Liam was doing. They still saw him as the same, still thought he was standing still. But then a big opportunity unexpectedly appeared. The company opened a new position that required the exact skills Liam had been quietly developing all along. When Liam presented himself, everyone was stunned. Those who had once underestimated him were taken aback. And the most interesting part was, by the time they wanted to keep him, Liam already had a better offer from another company, one that recognized his value without him having to prove anything. When you grow in silence, you not only change yourself, you change the way others see you. You make them realize they misjudged you. You make them wonder what they missed. And the most important part is, you do not do it to make them regret. You do it for yourself. Yet their regret will naturally follow as a consequence of growth they no longer have the privilege to witness. The lesson here is clear. Let your silence be the foundation for your progress, and let your progress become a reminder they cannot ignore. Lesson 5. Master your emotions. In any relationship, when someone disregards you, the first thing that gets affected is not your confidence, but your emotions. You feel irritated, you feel anxious, you feel abandoned. You feel like you did something wrong, even when you haven't. And that is the weakness many people exploit to gain power. When you get triggered, when you react hastily, when you try to fix a problem that isn't yours, they know they can control your emotions. Stoicism reminds us that the only thing we can control is our own response. And when you master your emotions, you master the entire game. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It is not events that hurt you, but your judgment about them." People ignore you. That is the event. But it is the thoughts. I'm not good enough. I'm about to lose them. What did I do wrong? That truly caused the pain. When you change the way you interpret the situation, the pain changes as well. When someone disregards you, you can see it as an offense, or you can see it as a sign that they are not worthy of your attention. That choice is entirely in your hands. I once knew a woman living in New York. Let's call her Amanda. In a friendship that lasted many years, Amanda was always the one to initiate. She was the one to invite out, to check in, to try to maintain the connection. Yet when she went silent for a few days due to being busy, the other side completely disappeared. No messages, no check-ins, no concern at all. At first, Amanda felt hurt. She thought she had done something wrong and almost sent a very long message to explain. But then she asked herself, why should I explain when I haven't done anything wrong? And why should someone else's silence have the power to control my emotions like this? Amanda decided to do something she had never done before. She didn't react. She let her emotions settle. She reminded herself that the other person's behavior did not reflect her worth. And something surprising happened. A few days later, that friend began to worry, asking if she was okay, complaining that she had suddenly become distant. But by then, Amanda had seen the issue clearly. She no longer wanted a relationship where her emotions were controlled by someone else's inconsistency. The lesson here is simple, yet powerful. When your emotions remain steady, no one can shake you. When you don't react hastily, you make others realize that their silence is no longer a tool to control you. And when you remain calm in the face of their behavior, they themselves begin to feel unsettled, lose their balance, and wonder why they no longer have the same influence over you. Lesson 6. Walk with confidence. There is a very special kind of strength that most people never learn until their heart has been hurt. The power of leaving at the right time. Not leaving out of anger and not leaving to punish someone, but leaving because you have seen the truth, that you deserve the respect the other person cannot or will not give you. And the interesting part is, the very moment you step out of the game with calmness, without noise, without justification, without demands, is the moment that makes them think the most. In American culture, especially in modern relationships, many people believe that if they keep their distance, stay indifferent, or let you try a little harder, you will never walk away. But they forget one thing. Once your self-respect awakens, you no longer need them. Marcus Aurelius once said that the wise are always satisfied with themselves, and the greatest acceptance comes from within, not from others. When you realize this, you gain the courage to walk away without looking back. I once knew a woman living in Arizona named Olivia. For many years, she had always tried to salvage her relationships. Even when she was undervalued, dismissed, or ignored during the times she needed support most, Olivia would try a little harder, endure a little longer, hoping the other person would change. But the more she tried, the more she felt disconnected from herself. Until one day Olivia woke up and realized, I no longer want to feel small in a relationship. She didn't argue, she didn't blame, she didn't send long messages. She simply packed her things, left the home where she had endured for too long, and walked away. No slammed doors, no tears, no threats of breaking up. Just a peace she hadn't felt in years. And something strange happened just a few weeks later. The person who had once ignored her, who believed she would never leave, began messaging, calling, and asking to meet. They said they missed her. They asked why she had changed. But Olivia didn't need an answer. She saw clearly. Those who once took you for granted often only recognize your value when you are no longer there. The lesson here is clear. When you walk away with confidence, you reclaim all the power you once gave to the wrong person. You don't leave to make them regret it, but they will regret it. Not because you tried to create that outcome, but because you have become someone they no longer have the privilege of taking for granted. Lesson 7. Expand your circle of influence. One reason the pain of being undervalued feels so deep is that we often try to prove our worth to the wrong people. We pour time, energy, and heart into making a small group understand how important we are, while out there exists a whole wide world of people who will recognize that without you having to exhaust yourself. And sometimes the most important lesson isn't to make someone regret ignoring you, but to learn how to leave them and step into spaces where you are valued from the start. I once knew a man living in Denver named Nathan. He had spent many years connected to a group of college friends. They met regularly, hung out on weekends, yet Nathan always felt like the outsider. He was the one interrupted in conversations, the one whose achievements were met with only a perfunctory response from the group, the one who, if he didn't reach out, could go an entire month without anyone noticing. Nathan had tried to change. He tried harder to fit in, spoke more, helped more, but all it did was leave him exhausted and feeling unseen for who he truly was. One day, Nathan decided to stop, not because he hated them, but because he accepted that he had been trying to fit himself into a circle that wasn't meant for him. He began stepping outside, attending professional meetups, trying a skills class, and connecting with people who shared similar goals, values, and energy. What happened made him feel like he had stepped into a different life. The new people he met for the first time showed him the respect his old friends never had. They listened when he spoke. They acknowledged his contributions. They treated him as someone who truly had value. And the interesting part is, after a few months of focusing on his new circle, Nathan's old friends began to wonder why he had become distant. They asked why he no longer took the initiative. But by then, Nathan had understood the lesson Stoicism always reminds us of. Do not stay where you have to constantly prove your worth. Stay where your value is recognized naturally. When you expand your circle of influence, you not only find better people, you find a better version of yourself. You realize that the problem wasn't that you were unworthy, but that you had spent too much time standing in front of doors that would never open. And when you leave places that aren't meant for you, you allow life to lead you to the right people, the right environment, the right opportunities. The lesson here is, don't confine your value to those who cannot see it. Instead, seek those who make you become your strongest self. When you do that, you not only make the old ones regret it, you make yourself proud. As you reach the end of this journey, you will realize a truth that every mature person must learn. Someone ignoring you does not mean you are less valuable. It only shows that you are standing in the wrong place, giving your heart to the wrong person, and spending energy on those not mature enough to appreciate you. Stoic philosophy reminds us that true value does not need to be proven. It reveals itself most clearly when you stop chasing and start moving forward for yourself. Remember, the recognition of others does not define you. Their silence does not diminish your worth. Their indifference is not a judgment on your kindness. Sometimes it is simply a reminder that you have given too much to places that were never yours. And when you dare to step out, when you dare to stand tall, when you dare to choose self-respect, you will see the right doors open right before you. If these lessons resonate with you, leave a comment. I choose my worth. This is not just a phrase, but a commitment to yourself. Hit like if this video brought you clarity. And if you want to continue your journey toward becoming a stronger, calmer, and more self-mastered version of yourself, subscribe so you don't miss the next Stoic lessons. Thank you for joining me. May you always walk with self-respect and the peace you deserve.